information shared on Girl Pray On It is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Although I am a licensed mental health counselor, I'm not your therapist. Unless, of course, you're one of my clients. In that case, I am your therapist, and I'll see you in our next session. Listening to this podcast does not create a therapeutic relationship between us. If you are experiencing emotional distress or a mental health crisis, please seek support from a licensed mental health provider in your area or contact a crisis line. Always pray on it, and also reach out when you need help.
But not to us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. I'm Aisha Numan. I'm Rebecca Leon, and this is Aisha Numan, and you're here with us today at Girl Pray On It.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Alhamdulillah.
Cool,
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the last TikTok you watched?
Oh my God. I watched a memorable TikTok from CBS Morning about AI learning how to escape human control.
Oh, okay. Wow. You're like into the news.
That's what came up in my For You page. I didn't get to pick.
Okay. I was just watching TikTok while you were in the bathroom,
Okay.
and it was about ghusl.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Clearly our For You pages are very different.
I guess so.
I guess so. If you haven't caught on yet, we are talking about social media today.
Indeed, we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And we are millennials, which means our generation invented social media.
We certainly did. We're taking credit for it.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. What's your favorite social media platform?
Oh, God. I equally love and hate social media at the same time.
Mhm.
And my social media habits have drastically changed over the last several years.
Mm.
I feel like I find the most enjoyment
Mhm.
from TikTok,
Okay, same.
but I find that I am just very habitual when it comes to opening up the Instagram app, and I probably spend more time on there because it's just so ingrained in me to just like click, 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 go to
Right,
Instagram, take a
right.
look at what's happening.
Yeah. I am a TikTok fiend.
Okay.
Like, love TikTok.
Yeah.
Could spend hours there.
Sure.
I think it's actually replaced my TV watching.
Oh,
And if you know me, I'm an avid TV watcher.
sure.
I'm sort of on Instagram, but not really. I'm just like a lurker.
Yeah. I'm a lurker. I'm 100% a lurker.
Yeah.
I don't create content anymore.
Yeah.
Except now that we're doing this podcast, I am. But
Right.
I don't post personal stuff anymore.
Same. I don't
Yeah.
post a lot of personal stuff either. Facebook, I feel like, is a bygone.
Oh, that's done.
It's been done.
It's been done.
Yeah.
Ever since my mom and dad went on there,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was over for me.
Once the olds took it over, it was
Yeah.
just like, I'm on there for Facebook Marketplace
Yes.
and then for my buy nothing groups.
Yes.
And then that's about it. Yeah.
I'm on there for the groups. I
Okay.
think for sure. I'm on there for the groups to see like when everyone's meeting up,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace. That's about it.
Yeah. So can you tell me about what was your first experience with social media?
First experience with social media was definitely Facebook because I think
Okay.
that was the first thing for everyone. That was what was
Yeah.
invented first. And
Yeah.
I was a pretty early joiner. Like it may have
Yeah.
been like 2008, 2009, if you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just a youngster, a little teenager.
Yeah.
It was a way to connect with your friends
Yeah.
online. It was really exciting because it
Yeah.
was brand new.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I went to Instagram and was posting really terrible pictures, photography pictures that I thought were really good.
Yeah.
That were just pictures of like signs driving down the highway, like stuff like that. Because I thought it was so cool
Indeed.
at 15 years old.
Right.
Yeah. I think that is how it started. And it
Mhm.
started with sharing pictures that I was taking with my friends. And it was really
Mhm.
fun to go online and see the pictures that like my friends had shared of me.
Mhm.
And it was like a really sweet memories, like going down memory lane. Like we just had this really fun weekend and
Mhm.
we were writing on each other's walls.
Mm,
Yeah, we
mhm.
were writing on
Yeah.
each other's walls, like the most embarrassing stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, kids, what you put on the internet stays
Is
on the
there
internet
forever.
Are we including YouTube? Because I was also, I think,
YouTube?
Yeah.
I don't. I wouldn't consider it a social media. I consider it like an entertainment
Okay.
platform.
Okay.
I don't know if it's social media because it's
Fair.
not necessarily you are engaging. I guess with their like mini short form videos, like
It's
yeah,
evolved
it's
since
evolved.
its
Yeah.
like initial conception.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been, oh my God, how many years have we had social media? Like at least 15 years.
Hmm.
Social
No,
media
longer than that.
longer, but
Longer than
like
that. Yeah.
15 years since it's been like
Yeah.
more commonly
Yeah.
used.
Yeah, exactly.
I think early introduction to social media was like super different than what it is
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
It really at the beginning was about connecting with your friends.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I really loved how pure it was back then. Obviously, now it's a whole different beast.
It is.
But tell me what your first experiences were like with social
Oh my
media.
gosh. So MySpace.
Oh, yeah, MySpace. I was never on
You were
MySpace.
never
I was young.
MySpace?
I
Oh
wasn't
my
allowed to go on MySpace.
god.
I was too
My
young. My
yeah.
cousin had a MySpace. I thought she was so cool. But there was
Really?
in the like in the MySpace era, there was like a lot of reports of like really scary things happening.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
my parents were like didn't let me have one.
I could see how that was happening
Yeah.
because I was just adding anybody. I was I was reckless and young
Fair.
but my profile like design was A1. I had music on there. I had my top 8 or whatever top friends and they were moving every week, every week. Oh, you didn't comment? Mhm. You're getting number 5, number 6. So that was like my first foray into social media, but
Yeah.
I remember the exact day that Facebook came into my life. And it's really
Really?
funny because I went to an all girls middle school
Mhm.
and there was a presentation by the stunt woman who happens to be from New Zealand, who was a stunt woman for Xena, the Princess Warrior.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It was really
That's
random.
so random, but really
Yeah.
that's a cute memory.
Yeah. And so she was coming to our school
Okay.
and she was doing her presentation.
Yeah.
And I think before the presentation, I was on my laptop, if you can believe it. I had a laptop back then. And I'm looking and I got an email from one of my friends and it was like a Facebook invite.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, it's Facebook. It's like MySpace, but better. And I was like, I'm not adding this. And then not 2 years later, I was like, maybe I should get back on this, right?
People
But
started getting it.
yeah, and so I remember Facebook being a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then it dropped off post college for me
Yeah.
and it wasn't a thing and Instagram replaced it and then I fell off of Instagram cuz that felt really like I don't know, just very materialistic. With COVID, everybody was on TikTok and that's where I've really felt like my community.
Okay.
And I feel like social media has some really great qualities about it, but it also has some really like negative qualities.
Yeah.
So for me, TikTok was one I was just learning a lot. I was getting connected to my Muslim community, to my Black community, to my plus size community, and just like communities I wouldn't have ever been connected to previously.
Right.
And so that aspect of social media I really love. I also really loved the fact that unlike with MySpace, Facebook, and Instagram, well, the older versions, you didn't really know anybody. You don't know those people in real life, like from TikTok. And so where I was like comparing myself to a lot of the people who I actually knew in real life on Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, I didn't find that as much on TikTok. So it helped me, I don't know, balance out and figure out my place in the whole social media like big game.
Right.
I feel like TikTok is definitely different than the other social media and I really do like that I don't know anybody. And if you see me on there and you know me in real life, keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. This is not for you. This is for the people I don't know. Yeah.
I think my experience is very, very similar to
Yeah.
yours. I still don't know any person on TikTok.
On TikTok, yeah.
My TikTok is just solely for consuming content.
Yeah.
Not for engaging with people that I know.
Yeah.
I think the thing that always felt unique to me about TikTok was, like you said, it kind of exploded during the early stages of the pandemic. And it was like an escape in a way where I was only getting like funny videos.
Exactly.
All the videos were just like hilarious.
Hilarious, yeah.
And it was like such an escape when you needed a laugh and things were like feeling really scary and unpredictable. It was like totally an escape. And now even TikTok has evolved to being like less enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like in
Um,
the last 2 years, I wonder why.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's sort of an evolution of all social media where, like, when it's new, that's when it's really exciting
Hmm.
and really fun. And that's when
Hmm.
you're like enjoying it. And as it evolves and there's more and more external
Hmm.
sources that are like pouring into it in terms of
Hmm.
advertising,
Yeah,
then it
yeah,
becomes less and less enjoyable and it gets ruined. And then we find the next greatest thing. But
yeah,
what was
yeah.
awesome about TikTok in the beginning was
Hmm.
that like there wasn't like all these like ads. Like
Yes,
people weren't
yeah.
the advertisers were not on TikTok. It was like solely
Now
users
it just feels like
on
one big ad.
every other swipe
Yeah,
is an
yeah,
ad. It took a little bit of the joy out of it for me.
yeah,
Also, the algorithm and the way that it's tailored to me, it started to
yeah,
learn how to really trigger me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So like now I don't really get funny content anymore. Now
yeah.
I'm like getting content that now it's stressful going on TikTok.
Right? It is stressful. And I think there's been a push to be careful with how you consume it. And I'm wondering
Exactly.
what the professional mental health counselor community is saying about social media and how we consume content.
Sure. I mean, it's such a huge, huge, huge topic, but I think generally what comes up is there's obviously on these social platforms, it's almost impossible have some not to be triggered by with insecurities
Hmm.
by seeing everything that everyone is doing that is already like filtered and is already like not an actual representation of what real life is like.
Hmm.
We are going on social media and we are seeing people's carefully curated profiles
Right.
and profiles that are already like filtered and the pictures are being edited. So it's bringing up so many issues, like too many to count, where
Hmm.
now we are feeling self-conscious about our body. We're comparing our bodies to other influencers and these really unrealistic pictures that are coming up. So it's definitely in bringing up elements of like body image,
Hmm.
comparing ourselves to other people,
Hmm.
and an element of like seeing what other people are doing and feeling comparing ourselves to other people's lives, where they are in their life.
Right.
And it's so hard to remind ourselves like this Instagram is not real life.
Right.
Instagram is carefully curated to
Hmm.
show you what these people want you to see.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's bringing up comparison. We're feeling bad about ourselves. We're feeling bad about our self image, our body image. We're
Hmm.
feeling bad about where we are in life. And then, not to mention, also doom scrolling. Now we're
Yeah.
like getting news at the tip of our fingers really,
Right.
really quickly. We're seeing
Right.
really graphic images. We're like seeing war right in front of our eyes.
Hmm.
And it's just such a very different experience than we've ever had before social media existed,
Hmm.
that it's just created like this whole slew of mental health issues for our youth.
Yeah.
I already named a few things, but
Hmm.
also like how it's just inducing so much fear and anxiety and depression because of having an overwhelming amount of information and images right at the tips of our fingers.
Hmm.
And there is something about social media that is inherently addictive
Yeah.
that is also contributing to like shorter attention spans.
Hmm.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so I think any mental health counselor that you speak to is going to advise setting limits on the amount of social media that you consume.
Okay. And what would be those recommended limits for people in terms of consuming content on social media?
Yeah. I think it really comes down to having to develop a self-awareness.
Mm.
How much can I realistically take? When does this start feeling bad for me? When does this go from like, okay, I'm learning or I'm enjoying or I'm like having a positive experience toward now I'm feeling really bad about myself and I'm feeling really scared and really hopeless.
Hmm.
I think you have to check in with yourself and know what that balance is. But
Hmm.
I would encourage everyone to like take a break.
Hmm.
What I mean by that is like do a little cleanse, maybe go like a week without social media. And I
Okay.
just want you to think about, what does that feel like?
Mhm.
Tell me, what is the difference that you see in your life?
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people who would try that, maybe do a little social media detox, may feel more present in their lives,
Mhm.
may feel less anxious, may feel better about themselves in general, not having to see what everyone is doing all the time.
Okay.
I think everyone should give it a try and
Mhm.
see what it feels like, and then maybe start implementing it back into your life
Okay.
slowly, and starting to realize, what are my limits?
Mm.
What, like, when does this start feeling harmful to me?
Mhm.
When am I starting to notice all of these negative thoughts in my head? When does that come up?
Yeah, it is very personal.
Of course.
And when you're thinking about development, right, and specifically in adolescents, teens, and young adults, what would be your recommendation to some of the parents out there who might have youngins and are thinking about allowing them to start their journey on social media? What would be the recommendation from from a mental health standpoint?
Yeah. So, what I hear a lot is this sort of thing of, damned if I do, damned if I don't. A lot of parents are feeling that way because it's, if I allow my child to have social media, they are now subjected to all of these slews of issues that we have just mentioned,
Mhm.
the comparisons, the body image issues, seeing graphic issues, like all of these things, right? And that's one way in which maybe you're damned if you do, and yet at the other way, feeling like damned if you don't. And your kid is the only kid in school who doesn't have social media and is
Right.
feeling really left out. And that's how all the kids are like making plans and meeting up and doing
Mhm.
stuff. And then your kid is feeling really isolated from all of that. I would never, as I say in all of our episodes,
Mhm.
I would never give a prescription
Yeah.
for how any person should go about this.
Mhm.
I think we just need to be like, you need to know the beast.
Uh-huh. Know the beast. Okay.
Know what you're getting yourself into.
So they need to be fluent in the
Parents
TikToks and the
absolutely
things.
need to
Yeah.
be fluent in what is happening on social media.
Mhm.
Like, when I think about myself as a kid and like how the internet was like just coming up and then like
Mhm.
snowballing, and like my parents had no idea
Mhm.
what I was looking at or what I
Oh
was
yeah.
doing, and
Yeah.
I do wonder what it would be like if they did.
Mhm.
And so I think like parents really have to know what is possibly going to come up
Right.
for their kids when their kids are going on the internet and are going on social
Mhm.
media. And from there, talking to your kid about how we can set limits.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would never recommend that a kid just have like unlimited access 24/7 to
Right.
social media. I think like parents need to have conversations with kids about the potential dangers of posting on social media and of consuming content, and then talk
Mhm.
about like how we can limit this
Yeah.
so that no child maybe feels left out in a certain way,
Mhm.
but that they are still setting limits, whether that is 10 minutes of social media a day or
Yeah.
it's like 30 minutes, whatever you find appropriate. There obviously has to be some limit to what your kids are being exposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to pivot and talk about the Muslim community on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
It's known for being super toxic and
Okay.
not super welcoming. I don't know if you have any experience with that. It just seems to be kind of a battlefield.
Okay. Tell me
Um,
what your experiences are like with Muslim
yeah.
social media.
Well, what I'm seeing right on
Okay.
my side or my little corner of TikTok is, well, I'm seeing a couple of different things. I'm seeing this red pill ideology that a lot of Muslim men have adopted about how there's no good women, this world is full of fitna, et cetera, wanting women to just stay off the platform and hide themselves away. And the only people who would be representing Islam would be the men. I'm also seeing this like religious perfection type of trend where if there is a outwardly visible Muslim who is doing something haram or something that other people don't deem as representing the religion in a right way, there's just tons of comments like tearing that person down, especially for women and the way that they show up in their
Yeah.
bodies. For example, women who wear the hijab, if they don't wear the hijab correctly, right? Correctly, or the way that other people deem it as appropriate, that has been an issue, specifically like with women deciding to no longer wear or no longer veil or wear the hijab, right? And then there seems to be like this fatwa dawa community of just people being like, you're gonna go to hell, you're going to Jahannam, right? There are non-Muslims who are looking in at the Muslim community being like, is this what this dumpster fire is? Is this what
Okay.
represents like Muslims?
No, it's not.
It's not, right? But that's just what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing. And there's just like a whole lot of debate and discussion around Muslim TikTok or the Muslim corner of the internet. And I'm surprised you haven't experienced that. I mean, good on you for not being a part
My
of
For You
that.
page is very pure, a third of me. I've really only seen like very positive stuff coming out.
That's great.
But I'm not shocked
Yeah.
to hear that there is a lot of negativity and toxicity.
Yeah.
I think like when we talk about pros and cons of social media, one of the cons is like people feel as though they're given a sense of anonymity and that they're like anonymous, and that means that they can say whatever they want because they're not saying it to somebody's face. They forget that it doesn't matter like what platform you say what on, like you're still saying it and you're still accountable for what words you
100%.
use.
Yeah.
Just because you're like hidden behind a screen
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're not accountable for what you say.
Right.
It's
100%.
disappointing and also unshocking to hear
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. On the day of judgment, we're all going to, like, anybody who has said something behind a screen, right, is going to be revealed, right?
Yeah,
And anything that they have done to harm another person is going to be held to account. So I think it's a good reminder for us all to just think about what we're saying before we're posting it, or
Yeah.
because honestly, it's kind of disheartening the amount of just like infighting we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
Especially when the genocide in Palestine happened, there was a lot of infighting in the Muslim community about what to post, how to post. Like, it just felt we were losing the plot, right?
Yeah.
And even like during the Black Lives Matter protests, like that, there was a lot of discussion online about whether or not it was halal or not to even be protesting.
It's halal. It's not encouraged.
Actually,
in my perspective.
yeah, but there was a lot of discussion online saying that it was not halal because there's mixed gendered company.
I see. Okay.
There could be violence and
okay.
there's music and things and like all of these things that make it maybe not halal. However, I think it's funny because when the Black Lives Matter protest was happening, this was the conversation that's going. And then when it comes to Palestine, it's no, you got to get out there. What are you doing? But it's all the same stuff that existed in the Black Lives Matter protest existed here in the Palestine, right? Maybe not to the same extent, but it's just interesting to see the hypocrisy when it comes to different social movements and the conversations. But oftentimes, I think the trend that I've noticed is that when there is often one, I don't know, opinion, right? And then the same situations happens in a different community and that opinion completely changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think an important point to point out is like human beings are not perfect. Human beings are like deeply flawed and inconsistent. And yeah, there is a lot of racism that exists within this community, unfortunately, even though this is a religion of social justice. I feel like our religion, like one of the foundational aspects of our religion is social justice. And it doesn't matter like who is being targeted, like social justice and right and wrong is like pretty clear.
Yeah.
And we are meant to give voice to those who don't have one and to help marginalized people. But anyway, I guess we're getting off of the topic of social media.
Right. Yeah.
But I think you're pointing out a really good point, which is like how vicious and how much vitriol there can be on social media and how problematic that is.
Yeah.
Especially for our youth and especially for the outside world who's like looking at Muslims and seeing, oh, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, it's really sad and it's really disheartening.
Yeah.
And it just points to like how like important it is to really have these conversations with our youth. And maybe this is like actually a learning opportunity to have deeper conversations with our youth about what is happening on these social media platforms, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable.
100%.
So tell me a little bit more about why you decided to stop posting content on social media.
That's a good question. Well, one, I've gone through a bunch of different phases of not wanting to be perceived and not wanting to be judged, especially when I started gaining some weight. I was feeling very self-conscious about how I looked. Then I was just getting depressed comparing my life to other people's lives. So I felt like I should take a step back and try not to engage in content that was making me feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
But ultimately, right now, the reason why I don't really post is because it feels very weird to be posting in the midst of a genocide. It just everything feels very superficial. If it's not for Palestine, it feels very superficial. And that's not to say I haven't posted anything, right? But it doesn't feel like anything matters until that ends, if that makes sense, right? And then same thing for Sudan, same thing for the Congo. Like it feels weird to post about my life and post about like, even if I don't see my life as being great, it is great in comparison to those who are experiencing the genocide. That's where I'm at right now. That could change, right? Obviously, we're on social media for the podcast.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm also a little scared of the evil eye. I won't lie. I won't lie. Yeah.
That's fair.
What about you?
Very similar. I think I found myself becoming an increasingly more private person as the years went on. Becoming a therapist, I realized that I just felt like this need to protect my privacy. I think that's where it started, where I realized maybe I don't want everyone knowing everything about me. I just became increasingly more private. And I think I had a moment where I was like about to post a picture of myself that I thought was like a really nice picture. And I took a minute and I was like, wait, why am I posting this? And like I realized that my intention in posting the picture, to be quite honest, was like I thought I looked good and I wanted people to see it. And I was like, that's not okay with me, that is my intention in posting this picture. And I like realized that most of the pictures I had posted in the past, my intentions were just not pure.
To be seen, right?
It was to be seen, maybe seek validation, seek approval, seek acceptance. And that really changed the way I viewed social media, where I realized like I'm posting things because I'm seeking validation, and that is really unhealthy. I think that was a huge piece. And I think another big piece was like, my feelings got hurt a lot. I kept seeing people that I knew or like friends like hanging out, and I'd feel really disappointed that like I wasn't invited. I just realized that like I was doing what you had said, like comparing myself to other people. And I was like, if I didn't have social media, I would never have seen this, and I would have never have known, and my feelings would not have been hurt. So I think that was an element as well. And then exactly what you shared, I think seeing all of the images of what's been happening in Gaza was so deeply upsetting and troubling and humbling that I realized like I just didn't want to post about the fancy dinner that I went to when I'm seeing other people who are literally starving to death. It was definitely a huge eye-opener for me. I think like all those things combined made me realize that I'd rather actually remove myself from social media and reevaluate my intention around being on the social media apps. And I think I'm at a place now where I feel much more healthy around my social media usage, where I'm going on social media a lot more to inform myself of what's going on in the world and getting firsthand accounts as to what's happening in the world. And then also, sometimes I'm on there for a good laugh. Sometimes I just want a little bit of entertainment when life gets hard. And that's kind of it. That's kind of it. I'm not really on there anymore to post about myself. I honestly haven't posted in at least 3 or 4 years, maybe more. So I've just become, like you said, a lurker,
Yeah.
a consumer of
Yeah.
content rather than a creator of content. So
Yeah.
I was actually nervous to start the podcast
Mm.
because I knew it meant having to get back on social media
Mhm.
when I've really enjoyed stepping away from it.
Yeah.
And I feel nervous about putting myself out there too
Mhm.
and being really vulnerable. But I also feel like this time around, my intention is really pure.
Mhm.
Our intention going into this podcast was to create something that could help people and that would spread a little bit of positivity and goodness in this community and to make people really feel seen and understood. And I feel really good about that intention.
Yeah, that's great. We are in the age of like influencers, and
We are.
it's now like its own thing. It's a job title now, right?
Yeah.
It's something people are pursuing full time.
Yes.
Does influencing or being an influencer feel antithetical to Islam to you, or what's your thoughts on because we're seeing so many Muslim influencers who, mashallah, doing their thing and they're able to make a living on it. But this question keeps coming up, even on social media. Is being an influencer antithetical to Islam or antithetical to modesty and to the purpose of hijab? And I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I don't think it's antithetical to Islam, but I think you have to, as we were talking about intention, really reflect on what the intention is. I think if the intention is just like to sell stuff and make money and like you aren't really reflective of what stuff you're selling, I think sure that could be quite harmful.
Yeah.
But I couldn't ever just generalize a group of influencers and say that all of them are antithetical to Islam because I don't think that's true. I think there's so much positivity that can come in it. So many women have started wearing hijab because they watched
Other
hijabi
people,
influencers like style their hijab and they learned how to style their hijab or they learned how to enjoy being fashionable while wearing hijab. Like I think that is a way in which like there's so much positivity that can come from it.
Yeah.
I have just learned so much more about like how to be creative and enjoy and love my hijab through these influencers. But like at the same time, I think if there's no intentionality behind it, that's where there's a little bit more of a gray area when we're on social media for the sake of validation, for likes, for strictly solely for monetary purposes. I think that's where maybe there is a little bit of a issue that's coming up. Not to mention there's plenty of scholars and imams on social media who are putting out really wonderful content and like I have learned so much from those people.
Yeah, I love seeing like sheikhs and sheikhas on Instagram and getting that knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Certified scholars.
Mufti Mink is wonderful and hilarious.
Yeah.
Love following him.
We're not talking about you Google scholars, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a way in which like social media can be such an overwhelmingly positive platform for spreading a really wonderful message, this sort of thing. So I couldn't possibly say that influencing is antithetical to Islam, but I think it all comes down to intention.
All right.
What do you think?
I would agree. There's nothing that you said that I would disagree with. I would just say to the people who don't want to see, particularly women on social media, you shouldn't be looking at us anyways.
Yeah.
Dude, lower your gaze. Scroll on.
This content is not for you.
It's not for you, right? And I just wish that people who had that kind of concern about women being on social media and influencers where they just don't believe that we should be seen, right? Just imagine that this is the small women's corner of the internet and you weren't supposed to look past the curtain. That was never for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would just want to ask those people, like, how do you expect us to gather? Like, how do you expect us to
I don't think that they want us to. I don't think that they want us to. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Right?
Every person needs their corner of the internet in order to interact with one another.
Yeah.
And I think there are female scholars who are
Mm-hmm.
on social media
Mm-hmm.
who are literally talking about Allah, and they're
Yeah.
like literally sharing their
Yeah.
Islamic knowledge. How
Yeah.
could you possibly say that there's something wrong with them and that they shouldn't
Yeah.
be on there?
Yeah.
It's disappointing
Yeah.
that that is kind of what's coming out of it, but we all need our corner of the internet to,
100%. Yeah.
communicate, to gather, to reflect, and I would think about how much good is coming out of that. Even just seeing an influencer wearing a hijab
Yeah.
is that can be an act of dawah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, just look at with the genocide in Palestine, we're losing so many Muslims, but we're actually also gaining so many Muslims. I've
Yeah.
seen so many converts come
Yeah.
out of the just learning about what's happening in Palestine,
Right. And
right?
seeing the resilience of the
Yeah.
Palestinian people.
Right.
I've seen so many people be inspired by that and
Yeah.
have a desire to learn about Islam
Yeah.
just watching the resilience of these people.
Yeah. And I'll just end on this note. Islam is about balance. It's about the middle road, right?
Right.
And I think we as Muslims have to also take that approach specifically for our mental health, but also for our iman and our spiritual health. We should be looking at social media as there's bad, but there's also good, and taking like a middle road
Yes.
approach
Yeah.
and having balance in our lives,
Yeah.
trying to seek out community, trying to
Right.
seek out goodness,
Right.
and
Right.
trying to refrain from engaging in toxic conversations and behaviors on social media. And I think that's really important for
Yeah.
specifically our Muslim women.
It can be a tool.
Yeah.
So I think to summarize all those points, we all need to reflect on our intention
Yeah.
around being on social media, around posting on social media.
Yeah.
I think we need to all set limits for ourselves
Mhm.
on how much social media we consume
Yeah.
and be very aware about what feelings are coming up and what's going on in our bodies
Yeah.
when we are consuming content.
Mhm.
And that when we're thinking about the positive things about social media, we all need a community, and there's a
Mhm.
way in which social media can really bring people together and
Mhm.
have a wonderful community.
Mhm.
But we also need to be really mindful about what we say on social media
Mhm.
because we're going to be held accountable for
100%.
everything that we type. And
100%.
I think that's a pretty good summary. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Cool, cool, cool.
All right, great. When we come back, we will be reading some of your listener letters.
Yeah.
If you would like your listener letter to be read aloud and for us to respond to it, you can send an email to girlprayonitpod@gmail.com. Again, that's girlprayonitpod@gmail.com. And we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and read our listener letter for today. If you would like your listener letter or question to be read aloud on the podcast, you can send an email to girlprayonitpod@gmail.com.
That's it.
All right, great. So, Salam everyone. I am an 18 female and have been working really hard this year to improve my iman, improve my deen, and alhamdulillah, it's gotten much better. I'm able to pray and keep up with all the obligatory prayers and wear hijab, etc. Recently, though, I took a look at my social media and got confused. Nowadays, it's so common for teens my age to follow guys and girls on Instagram, and it doesn't mean much. However, Islamically speaking, I'm not sure if it's okay. I mean, I follow them on Instagram. We barely speak half the time. I don't even go on Instagram. So I'm unsure if I should just leave it alone or unfollow all of them except my mahram brothers. Either way, I just wanted to hear an opinion on this. Sorry for the long read, and God bless. Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my perspective,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
I would say that if you can try and keep the men that you follow, the non-mahram men that you follow, to a minimum, that would be probably the best way to go. I follow like Islamic scholars who are men, right? And I do that for Islamic knowledge. I also follow men for like news purposes, for updates on Palestine, updates on things going on in the world. Obviously, any mahram men, I'm following them on Instagram or, TikTok or whatever. It really depends on what my relationship is with any other men that I follow. I don't think I follow any men who are the husbands of my friends. I don't really see a need to. I don't really want to, right? I think if you can keep it to a minimum, if there is something beneficial for you, like in terms of knowledge or the news or something, I don't see anything wrong with following a non-mahram man as long as you are able to stay within the limits of what's appropriate. And then if someone asks you about it, like, why aren't you following me? You can just be like, oh, I don't really follow men like that. It doesn't have to be like that deep. It's not that deep. I don't know. What do you think?
So I never thought about it before
Yeah.
this moment. I don't know if that's no good, but
Yeah.
I think there's two different things that maybe are coming up or that we would talk about, which was like, one is who you're following, but then the other is who's following you.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like the men that I'm following are just people who I've met throughout my life. We don't necessarily have any kind of relationship. We're not in contact. We're not in touch. We're just following each other because at one point we had a class together in college.
Right.
Like, I'm not in touch or in contact with any of them, but every once in a while, sure, I'm seeing what they're posting. And I don't follow anyone who posts inappropriate content.
Yes, same.
So any person that I follow, I'm not worried about what they're posting or what I'm seeing. I'm not like seeing shirtless pics of men on my Instagram.
Right.
Most of it is a dude with his girl, a dude with his mom posting a picture.
Yeah.
Or at this like stage of life, it's a lot of people just posting pictures with their kids. And there's nothing like inappropriate or haram about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I never really gave like a thought about it. But the thing that I have given a lot of thought to is like, who is seeing what I'm posting? And especially as I had mentioned earlier in our conversation, that I was at one point like posting pictures of myself, and I felt like there was an element of maybe I was seeking validation in some point.
Yeah.
I actually removed all of those pictures.
Yeah.
And I realized that this person that I knew from 10 years ago who I'm not in contact with, but is following me on Instagram, is seeing my pictures. I should be a lot more thoughtful and careful about what kind of pictures I'm posting. What I'm trying to say is that there should just be an intentionality when it comes to who you're following and who's following you.
Yeah.
I think if you're talking about Instagram specifically, you can make good use of the close friends option, which is maybe certain pictures can be reserved just for certain people.
Right.
So that like your close friends list, maybe you make your close friends, like for me, I have close friends and they're only women or mahram. And if I want to post certain things and I like only want them to see it, I think that's like how I will utilize that.
Yeah.
And then if I'm like, most of the time when I'm posting stuff, it's nothing that I would feel like uncomfortable with someone who is my non-mahram seeing. But you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah. I would say, especially if you're on Instagram, you can like silence like certain accounts, right? You can like,
Oh yeah, that's
right?
true
You
too.
can
You can mute them.
you can mute them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. I would mute accounts, and then I would also, if there are people who you see every day, I would silence those accounts. And then if there are people who you're not going to ever talk to them or interact with them, just unfollow them. It's not that big of a deal. And if someone inquires, you can just be like, yeah, I'm just trying to only follow women or have only women follow me. Like, I don't take it take it deeply if someone unfollows me. Now,
I definitely do.
if it's someone I know and I interact with on the daily, I would want to know why they unfollowed me. But if it's someone who just like we happened to, I don't know, work together or we took a class together and they unfollowed me, I'd be like, whatever. It is what it is. I love your intention of wanting to follow like Islamic principles and try and keep your social media halal. So I would encourage you to do whatever feels best. And if that means purging men, then go for it. Because really, what does a man contribute? But let's be honest, right? So go ahead and do it, right? Yeah.
I think it goes back to what we always talk about on this podcast, which is that everyone's religiosity is different. Everyone's
Right.
interpretation is different. What everyone's comfort level is different.
Mm-hmm.
So who are we to tell you whether you should or you shouldn't do anything? You have to be self-reflective, and you have to think to yourself, like, what is my heart telling me?
Mm-hmm.
How am I feeling about this certain thing?
Yeah.
Listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. If your gut is telling you I shouldn't be following this person or looking at their content,
Mm-hmm.
unfollow that person.
Yeah.
If your heart is telling you I shouldn't be posting that content,
Mm-hmm.
don't post that content. I think
Yep.
listen to your gut, listen to your heart, and everyone's gut and heart is going to tell them something different.
Yeah.
But really know yourself, listen to yourself. If there's an alarm bell going off in your head, don't ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I would say.
All right. That sounds good. I think that's it for this segment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now is the time where I, Aisha, look at the camera and I rant about something that is bothering me that day, that week, that month, or whatever. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. So, I mean, since we're on the topic of social media,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and say that, like, why are people on Facebook Marketplace, why have they lost their minds? Why have they lost their minds? And I especially don't understand what's the addiction to like paying in cash, right? If I'm asking you to pay me via Apple Pay or Venmo,
Mhm.
why is that such an issue? Like, why do people not want to do that? And they're trying to pay me in cash. Cash is dirty. I don't know where your hands have been. And I want to be able to deposit it directly into my account immediately and be able to use that money. So I don't understand what is people's whole thing about wanting to pay cash. But the other thing is, when you're on Facebook Marketplace, there's a level of flexibility that you have to have, right? Both as the seller and the buyer. Now, if I am selling a Persian rug, a large area Persian rug, and you are trying to offer me $50, jail, straight to jail. You deserve to go to jail. Like, why do you think that's appropriate, right? This is a Persian wool, hand tufted rug, okay? And I know my stuff, right? You're trying to offer me $50. You should be ashamed of yourself. Everybody wants a deal, right? But like, we also have to remember that there are certain things that have certain value, and you can't just be offering like asinine prices. Like, it doesn't make sense. Right?
I'm on the other side of that debate, because I really would be the person offering $50.
See, and you're the type of person where I'm telling you go straight to hell.
Oh.
Go straight to hell.
No.
But I'm just saying,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Like,
but everything is on Facebook Marketplace should be open for negotiation.
yes, I
Okay,
agree
we're
with that. I
negotiating.
agree.
I'm offering you 50, then you say no, 200.
Yeah.
And then I have to decide whether or not I'm okay with that, or maybe I'm offering you 100.
Yeah.
But we got to start somewhere.
It's
okay?
a back and
gotta
forth.
Start somewhere.
It is
I'm
a
starting with $50.
Yeah. It is a relationship. It is a little bit of a back and forth. And I understand that. But like, when you're really sincerely lowballing, it is ridiculous. But so that's like for a hand tufted Persian rug, right? Like, those are already expensive.
Okay.
If you're trying to get $1,000 for your couch, it is a used couch.
Yeah.
Why there's no reason why you should be trying to get that much.
I just buy a brand new couch. If it's going to be $1,000,
right?
Why should I buy a used couch?
Right,
I'm
exactly.
gonna get a new couch. If I have $1,000 to spend.
Right, exactly. So I feel like some people are delusional. Some people are really delulu.
Yeah.
And then there are other people, and then there are like just the chronic lowballers where they're like, I've got $10. Great, so do I. What's that gonna get you? A slice of pizza and a soda?
I hope not. $10 for a slice of pizza? Where are you living?
In New York.
Yeah, but like we still got our dollar slices out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Although some places have upped the ante a little bit. They've gone to $150, which is criminal. But...
Yeah. But let me tell you about a scenario, right? So I'm selling this like huge piece of art, and it's an original piece of art. And for those of you guys who don't know, I'm from California. This is in California, right? Where we're driving, right, in the Bay Area. And it's an original piece of art. And I got it from the White Elephant Sale, which is put on by the Oakland Museum of Art. And once a year, they have a huge warehouse sale where they sell these original pieces of art, right?
Okay.
I'm selling this thing, and this lady is she's coming from like San Francisco, right? And she's like, can you bring it to me? And I'm like, yeah, but I would have to charge you. And she's like, charge me? I'm like, yeah, gas costs. And it's expensive here. If you're in California, gas is like $5 a gallon.
Mhm.
I'm not joking, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm going to charge you for gas. Like, why do you think this is a free service? No. If you want the item, you have to come to me or
Yeah.
we meet in the middle, right? This
Yeah.
is not a free delivery service,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Like, people are just ridiculous.
They are. No, I think the etiquette
Yeah.
when it comes to Facebook Marketplace is the person who's buying has to be the person to pick it up.
Yes, exactly. And I'm okay with meeting you in the middle if it's a convenient location and I'm already in the area. For those of you guys who know the Bay Area, if I live in Oakland, I'm not coming over to San Francisco because not only is that a toll that I have to pay, it's gas money.
Yeah.
So if you want it, then you spend the money to come get it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I agree.
Right.
I
And-
think we can agree on that.
Yeah, right. I feel like just people have lost their minds. Like, I understand cost of living has increased and everything, but we have to have some decorum.
They're on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
Because they don't want to buy something brand new for full price.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but like, you guys, the thing that really pisses me off is this available? And then you're like, yeah, obviously if it's still up there, it's available. No response.
No
response. That's no response.
Excuse me.
Okay.
That is the
What?
is it available is the automatic like message that gets
You
sent
can change
out.
that.
What's wrong with asking if it's available?
Because if it's up there, it's available.
Not in all cases. Okay, so I lived in Atlanta, Georgia
Uh-huh.
for only 1 year. While I was there, I had to furnish my apartment, but I didn't know that I was only going to be there for 1 year. It just ended up being for 1 year. Anyway, without having knowledge of how long I was going to be living in a new city, I was like, I'm not going to buy a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like an avid Facebook Marketplace user
Yeah.
because I'm like, I'm just going to furnish this apartment with used, inexpensive
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, sometimes I would reach out and ask, is it available? And they'd be like, no, sorry, I just sold it. And I'm like, well, then why is the post still up?
Right.
So it's
Well,
not always the case.
Yeah, but that's on the seller, and you should be using the pending option, okay? Because there's a pending option for a pending pickup, right?
Yeah.
And you could change that if the person
Yeah.
doesn't end up picking it up.
I've never sold anything on Facebook Marketplace, but I've bought
Yeah.
a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace. And there was a lot of really bad sellers out there
I'm
who
sure.
I had some,
Yeah.
tussles with.
Tussles,
I
yeah.
don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I didn't always have the best experience with these sellers.
I get it. It's just, we have to understand that as buyers and as sellers, it's a collaboration type
Yeah.
of event, and I need you to like screw them in tightly, okay?
Just like with anything else in this world, there's unspoken rules,
Yes.
unspoken etiquette when it comes to buying and selling on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Just like anything else.
Yeah. 100%.
We have the unspoken
Yeah.
rules when it comes to life.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It's just not everybody has common sense. Not everybody agrees on those unspoken rules sometimes, but you heard it here what the unspoken rules is if you're interacting with me. Okay? All right. Well, that's the end of our episode, I think. Anything else to add?
I think we got a lot today, huh?
Yeah, I think we did.
And I think we would love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your questions. And maybe in a future episode, we can come back to this topic and
Yeah.
revisit it, having some input from our listeners.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. You can always send us an email at girlprayonitpod@gmail.com if you have questions, you want us to read your listener letters, or you just want to say hey.
Yeah, but leave
Okay.
that social media toxicity at home, okay?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
if that's what you're coming there to say.
Don't bring it over here, because I use that block button avidly. Avidly. All right. That's it. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
All right. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Girl Pray On It podcast. We hope today's conversation gave you something to reflect on. Be sure to follow us on both Instagram and TikTok at Girl Pray On It Pod. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Girl Pray On It Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen, so you'll always be up to date with our newest episodes. Stay connected, stay encouraged, and as always, Girl, pray on it.